Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for clicking on our faces. Tonight is a very special night because we are talking about the return of Daredevil. Daredevil Born Again. Technically season 4, that's what the streets have been saying, season 4. But of course, I am not here by myself. I'm C the Superior, but I'm not here by myself. I'm here with my co-host, the great Grand Slam Poobah. How's it going this evening?
I am doing well. I'm doing better than a certain character that I know we'll get into, but I'm
yes. Speaking of, again, this is an after show. This is a breakdown. So we go into full spoilers of the show. So if you have not yet watched episode 1 and 2 of Daredevil Born Again, you want to give us a like and come back when you did, because we're going into full spoilers. All right.
Absolutely. I'm excited to actually, real quick, I'm really excited to talk about this with you. I know that you watched back a while ago this 3 seasons of Daredevil. I watched it when it originally came out. And when we got the show, I think there was a little bit of concern about the show, thinking, what's the word, Disney-fy? I can sit here and tell you folks, it's not Disney-fy.
Well,
I
have some thoughts about that. Well, that's all I'll say.
You're usually the one with geek news, but I was curious on what did you think about this. I screenshot this because we're doing 2 episodes, so we're going to make this quick. But I was just curious on what did you think about this. Let me click this real quick. Robbie Downey Jr., he's writing a backstory for Dr. Doom. How do you feel about Robbie Downey Jr. being the guy to write Dr. Doom's backstory?
He's writing the backstory. Now, is it going to be like canon to Dr. Doom? Because I know Dr. Doom has a very specific story. He came from, some like other country, right? He has some mystical powers. I believe his mother died, and so is he going to stick to that, or are they writing completely new back?
So I clicked this, and all I see is the Russo brothers says Robbie Downey Jr. is so dialed in when it comes to his upcoming movie. There's not a whole lot of detail about what he's going to do, but I was just curious on, do you have faith in Robbie Downey Jr. being the one to write this backstory for Dr. Doom? Because Dr. Doom is an interesting character. Dr. Doom comes from the Fantastic Four. He's not going to be the main villain in the Fantastic Four movie. It's Galactus, and we're actually getting Galactus. Shout out to that. But I was just interested in hearing what you thought about this.
I don't know if Robert Downey Jr. has writing credits in other movies. I will say that, I am a little concerned only because I'm not sure if he has that experience, but he's did a great Iron Man. He's been, in Marvel for many years now. So I'm sure it will. I don't think he's going to fail at it, especially with all the hands that Marvel has. I feel like if anything, he'll have support there. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like how you mentioned, he bought out Iron Man. I don't know how I'm going to feel about him as Victor Von Doom, especially since every time I see Robbie Downey Jr., I just see Iron Man.
Correct.
But I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And Silhouette is saying Robbie Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom is weird of casting, but I think they're going to try and say Tony and his variants are anchor being the timeline, or something like Molecule Man and 2015 Secret Wars. I don't know. Molecule Man in the 2015 Secret Wars comic storyline was kind of like an anchor between being where he and some cosmic importance.
Okay, yeah, like Wolverine and Deadpool 3 as well.
Oh, so that's so he's a Tony Stark variant, but he's Dr. Doom. I don't know how I feel about that though.
Pull together, child, because I don't even know if they have other variants that are other characters, right? I don't think so. Maybe now what's his name?
Who, Robbie Downey Jr.?
No, not Robbie Downey Jr. Chris Evans.
Okay.
Because he appeared in
Wolverine, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Johnny Storm. AKA Johnny Five. It's like no. But shout out to Silhouette. Thanks for joining us. We can't wait to talk about the show.
Yeah, man.
It looks like we have 15 people in chat so far. So don't forget to drop your comments in the chat and leave us a like as we dive into the episode. All right.
Please do. A lot of you guys are on X, Twitter, however you want to call it, and we appreciate you guys being on there. Write down your comments on what you think about Daredevil, or join us on the YouTube and write your comments. So let's get into it. One seed is superior.
All right, briefly though, thoughts of the shows. So episode 1 and 2. Just over.
To sum it all up, it just felt like old times. The first few minutes of the episode, and I can't wait to talk about it with you. It just felt like old times. It's in New York. I'm a New Yorker, and some of the scenes that they were showing and stuff like that. I was like, and not that I'm super familiar with Hell's Kitchen. I think I didn't realize Hell's Kitchen was real until I was like 20. I just thought it was always a name for that cooking show once upon a time. But to get to my thoughts here, it felt like they did this show just by these 2 episodes justice. So I like that they try to still keep that grit that it had from the Netflix show.
For me, I thought it was very wise to drop 2 episodes at once, because in my opinion, the first episode was the weaker one. And if they would have dropped that alone, I don't know if I would have been satisfied with what I saw. But we'll get into that. Let's get into episode 1. So we're back in Hell's Kitchen with our crew here. We got Foggy, and we got what's her name? Is this escaping? Karen.
Karen, there we go.
And it feels like old times. They're out there, out at the bar. They're joking it up. Karen, kind of there was some throwaway line a little bit talking about how she would kind of be down for getting back with Daredevil. She would be down with hooking up with Matt again, but he had to put the pause on. He was like, yo, well, that'll break the friend code. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. Karen is the villain of the show, because they want to act like nobody remembers that Karen and Foggy dated a little bit. They had went on like 1 or 2 dates before she just hopped.
Still superior. Stop that. 1 or 2 dates don't count. Please. Please stop that.
No, but the fact that they try to sweep it under the rug like it never happened. I remember, and you're not going to lie.
No, they didn't sweep it underneath the rug. They used the Swiffer, because there's no dirt on the ground at all.
They vacuumed it up. But we also see our guy Foggy. He's in the bar talking to this new character here. Her name is Kirsten. She works with Daredevil and I keep calling her Matt Murdock. And Foggy. She's also an attorney. And we also have another new character, and by the name of Cherry. Now, he is a cop, a retired cop. He's retiring in this scene. And later we find out that we see that he'll be working with Matt in a close capacity. And judging by what he said in this scene, he mentioned something about how the vigilantes, get the credit. Yeah, get the credit, but the police officers, they get the red tape, and they get, they get lawsuits. So I was wondering what you thought about that, because to me, wouldn't that kind of show that he has a biasness against vigilantes?
Yeah, and I think it's something that plays into real life, though. Like, how like a lot of times people, they do this and this and this and everyone, because you don't understand the unknown. Because you don't understand the unknown, you immediately judge it and stuff like that. Because then he has kind of, at least we'll get to it later, seemed like a change of heart.
Let's get in the comments here. We got to load everything else worked for me. Wait, hold on. Did I miss something? Oh, let's see. I think the CGI camera work is wonky, and that's my main negative. I agree. That's what I was saying about being Disney-fied a little bit in this first episode in particular. When we get into the fight scene and we first see Matt Murdock put on the Daredevil suit, it looks so heavily CGI that I was like almost brought out of it. I was like, what is Disney doing?
It's funny that you say that, because like you're a big fan of the CW stuff, and the CGI is kind of cheesy, and I understand that CW and Disney are 2 different budgets and whatnot. And I hear what you're saying.
CW. I expect that from CW.
Fair.
And I love that for them. But Marvel does it in such a way, or Disney does it in such a way, that you can tell that they spend money on it, but they don't need to do it. Like, it's like it was almost gratuitous. It's like, why are we adding in all of these CGIs when it could have been done another way for less and look better? It seems like it's just because they have the budget to do CGI, they're just putting it in there when it may not necessarily need to be added. But yeah, anyway, let's get into a couple more of these comments. We got American Dream Real Estate. Great. All right. And one more from Silhouette. Let's see here.
Oh, we gotta get our guy.
we get a guy who is retiring the next day or so, and he lives so fast.
And he lives. Yeah, that is kind of big, right? Yeah, usually the character is oft.
Let us know if he's in the comics, because I know you're a comic book reader, Silhouette.
Yeah, please let us know.
Yeah, but I think I haven't heard of this character before. But again, there is a fight that breaks out, and of course, the casualty, which everyone suspected, Foggy didn't make it. He, what's it called? A bullseye showed up,
Yes.
shot him in the chest, and you know, it was all she wrote, pretty much.
You know what I did like about this is that they touched back on the Netflix show and how Bullseye was an enemy the last time we did watch the show. So I did like that touch. I did like the costume too. It was something about the costume. I was like, oh, it was cool, and they kind of still kept that Daredevil. Dun, 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 and they still do that because they did it in She-Hulk. They did it in what was that Spider-Man's cartoon? I can't even think about it, but the last Spider-Man cartoon, they actually had that theme play. So I always think stuff like that is cool. I thought the fight sequence was fantastic, and it was actually comical. So not comical that Foggy died, but when Foggy died, and you know, Daredevil, his abilities, he can hear heartbeats and stuff. His hearing is enhanced, right?
Yeah.
But when he realized that Foggy is no longer alive, and you see, and honestly, the guy who plays Bullseye does such a fantastic, because I legitimately hate him. Like, I legit do not like this guy at all. And I'm pretty sure he's a swell guy in real life, but the character, I just want to punch him in the Adam's apple. But when he starts laughing, and Daredevil just just like push him off the ledge of the roof.
He took it there. He attempted to kill him.
And honestly, I like that a lot because, like, once again, I use Disneyfied a lot, but I think like it just shows you like, nah, we're gonna go there. Although he didn't die, I thought that was incredible, and I'm interested in understanding why. I was in a chat and someone was like, how did he live? Because it can't just be his spine, but I don't know what else he was injected in, and I'm not super familiar with Bullseye and his pain tolerance, which also too in the scene when you watch Daredevil again, and I'm like, wow, this dude's pain tolerance is ridiculous because he got stabbed a few times and he kept fighting.
Yeah. So I do know he does have that, you know, vibranium. I don't think it was called vibranium when they did the show, but it was injected into his spine like painkiller a little bit. I'm assuming that he had additional enhancements since then, or it could be that now that we have mutants in Marvel, could he be like a mutant? Could it be?
But that's the thing. I don't think he's classified as a mutant, even in the comics. I think he's like an enhanced human, but he's not mutant. But I'm not super sure about his about that. Maybe he has a super. Maybe he just said like when he went to the gates and he said, "No, I'm not done bullying the world. I don't know.
I'm not done here. I got work to do." But Silhouette Animator, he says, Cherry is nothing like the Cherry from the comics. Okay, so
interesting.
Cherry's in the comics is a woman. Former member of the Tracksuit Mafia. Interesting. Okay, we get a little.
We have that in Hawkeye.
Yeah, the Tracksuit Mafia. Yeah, and they were name dropped here, I believe, if I can recall. But shout out to the viewers. We got 37 of you guys in here so far. Drop a comment in the chat and let us know what you thought of the episode. But okay, interesting. They did do a little swap here. But also when we get to the portion of the show where we do see, you know, Daredevil decides at this point that he no longer wants to be Daredevil. Matt Murdock said he's going to put the mask down.
Daredevil no more.
Yeah, Daredevil no more. We do get to the scene where Bullseye is on trial. Matt Murdock is, of course, testifying against him. This is a year later, guys. A full year has passed. And fortunately, he gets like multiple life sentences. But unfortunately, there was more than one casualty the night of Foggy's death. It was Foggy and also the friendship between Karen and Matt Murdock. The death of Foggy kind of resulted in them, you know, distancing each other from each other. So she even moved out of New York. She's way over in West Coast somewhere. I forget where exactly.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, right?
Francisco. Yeah.
I wonder if that had something to do with Matt Murdock over there in Cali with She-Hulk, which begs the question. I'll ask this a little later, but you know, table this for later, guys. Is She-Hulk canon to Daredevil in this universe here? Think about it. Think, because I
That's
don't know.
interesting.
We got a couple clues to some other properties in Marvel and in Disney Plus, but I don't remember any like little teasers for She-Hulk.
If I can, if I could just throw this little nugget here, there was something that the actor who plays Matt Murdock, and he said, and I forget because we did. I mean, cheap plug. We did review She-Hulk. I forget how many years ago it was at this point, but he said something over the lines of like, "I hope that that favor can be repaid." So part of me goes like, I kind of do think so. I'm
Okay.
not strong on it, but I kind of do.
All right, all right, all right. But of course, now we're flashing over to the main girl of the show, my home girl, Vanessa.
You love Vanessa. You gotta do it like this, Vanessa. I miss you.
Vanessa has been holding down the underground of the business. She, as Wilson was away tending to Echo, she has been, the head mafia boss and getting things done. And also, of course, we see that our boy Wilson Fisk is back in the scene.
Vanessa.
Very fitting that the first word that he utters in this series is Vanessa, because
Vanessa.
that man loves his wife, and I love to see it.
Can we talk like I know we don't have a picture of it, but this makes me want to change my breakfast way of eating. He had, I think, was an omelet and
he had
asparagus.
some asparagus or string beans.
Yeah, it was asparagus. You're right.
Is a very healthy man. He's just heavy set. Okay, he's just big boned, but he's very healthy. He likes to eat well and organic and minimalistic.
Wait, what?
This is why I've said it before. He's the daddy of the show. He loves his wife.
I don't have
he
kids.
Eats healthy. He's out here, making funds, helping the people. Matt Murdock need to catch up to Wilson Fisk. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to say Silhouette is actually speaking facts here. Frisk eating rich people food. I agree, because that looked like the healthiest omelet I've ever seen. That was an omelet, correct? I want to make sure that was an omelet, because that looked
like a chicken thing. I don't know.
Oh, okay, that could have been
on the egg.
I'm gonna screenshot that and Google it, because I'm gonna start making that, because that looked good. I don't know about the one asparagus, because I like to eat, but like, shout out to him.
Shout out to Wilson Fisk, like I said, the true daddy of the show. But we see in this episode that though he loves his wife, right, there seems to be a little trouble in paradise from where we last left him off in season 3 of Daredevil, because he has been he's been absentee, right? He's been, I guess, running for mayor. He's been, handling things elsewhere, and she has been alone. And we find out in a later scene that Vanessa has been having an entanglement with someone by the name of Adam. So I thought that was very interesting. And she even tells Wilson Fisk, when he mentions that, he knows about Adam, she said, please don't kill him. And Fisk was like, I'm not that man anymore. So that's clearly kind of like a tie back to Echo, where Echo kind of like healed his trauma in a way and made him into like this new, more moral man. I think see that in episodes. What do you think?
If I'm being honest, if I got shot in the face, I'd change my whole sense of living too.
Oh Lord! But yeah, she healed him with her little Echo history powers.
No, she healed him with a gun. What are you talking?
No, bro. Let's rewind the final episode of Echo.
Well, she did beat the heck out of him. Yeah, I actually forget that. Right.
Healed his trauma, and she even had a thing where she kind of got sucked into his mind and saw how
right. Okay. You're right, because it was like her mother and her grandmother or something like that, right? Like it was like a family thing. Okay, I do remember that. Yeah. Okay.
So she somehow healed his trauma, which was kind of why he kind of like up and left.
But how long? Let me actually want to see the superior. You are a big. I don't even think you say kingpin, but Wilson Fisk gal, right? How long does this last?
I don't know. Clearly, it's still lasting up until episode 1. Now, episode 2 is where it gets a little shisty. I don't know. We'll see. It might be wearing off. But the fact that
I see what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
The fact that he tells Vanessa that he is not going to kill, unalive her extramarital,
her side piece.
That to me speaks that this is the healed version of Wilson
I
Fisk.
mean, real question. I mean, quick question. Did they ever show? I forgot what her side boo was named. But they
Adam.
didn't show him, right? Adam. He wasn't ever shown, right?
No,
Okay,
he's
okay, okay.
we don't know who the hell this guy is. Uh, hopefully Wilson Fisk don't know what he looked like either, because it
What
might,
if it's Adam Warlock? It's not like he stands a chance against Adam Warlock. If it's, I'm joking. I'm
it
sorry.
better not be Adam Warlock. These comments here. Let's see. Tell about the anime. He said, if you recall from Echo's finale, hold on.
Mhm.
Echo essentially gave Fisk some clarity on life after entering his mind. Yep. Uh-huh. So he's probably trapped between wanting to do actual good for once and remaining the kingpin. Right. Exactly. I think he's not cured. I think he pulled away before Echo could fully redeem him. Okay, maybe that's why, because
That's actually interesting.
it is. But we do get a couple more scenes that kind of Disney kind of spoiled a little bit by giving us a little teaser. We get Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock in the diner, and they're kind of going head to head. Is very much like this scene that they kind of leaked, or the trailer that they showed.
Hmm.
But essentially, Fisk does make a nod to Echo. So this is how we know for sure that Echo is canon to
Connected.
this universe. Yes. But again, there wasn't anything in these 2 episodes that connected to She-Hulk. So that's why I'm like, I'm wondering if they're not going to acknowledge She-Hulk in this series.
I still think they are. I think we still got time, and I mean, there's another season coming up as well. So, I do think there's still time to it. Although I know She-Hulk was quite the quite the show to review, but I do like that there was this connection to Echo. I mean, there was I mean, the thing that Kingpin said when he said like, I mentored a young woman, and he said. She shot you in the face, didn't she? It was something that, I mean, isn't it interesting though with these two? And in the comics, I'm pretty sure they have a really interesting relationship. I remember seeing a picture one time. I don't think it was in the comics, but just I happened to run by it. But there's a picture of him and Fist like giving himself five. But didn't they come off like bros for a bit until they got into that real deep stuff where Penn is talking about like you're a vigilante and you try to kill me, and he's like, no, I never tried to kill you. I just tried to get you incarcerated. And then they're having this back and forth, and the thing Kingpin says, like I didn't send Point Dexter to kill your friend. He did that on his own. So I don't know. There was a little bit in the scene where I was like, yo, they seem like they would be cool, but there's so much history where they've been trying to beat each other up and kill each other that can't be, at least in this series. So
I don't know about cool or bros, but I do think that there is an understanding there. Like kind of like if you've known someone for so long, even if you don't get along, you still kind of like, acknowledge them in a way and have a certain respect for them,
That's
but not necessarily like that you don't like them. So
you're not inviting them to Thanksgiving. Fair enough.
exactly. And that's what pretty much Matt Murdock told him in the scene. He was like, look, I believe in redemption. I'm a Catholic Christian man, right? But if you get out of line, I'll be right there on that ass, right? And so, and Fisk pretty
And
much.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a big ass.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But he's still the daddy of the show. Now, the episode ends off pretty much because again, we are aware that Wilson Fisk is running for mayor, and at the end of the episode, we see that he actually won that election. And just to quickly acknowledge, Daredevil got himself a new little love interest this season.
She's cute.
Yeah, she's very cute. She's a therapist, and I believe her name is Heather. I think I wrote it down. But yeah, I believe her name is Heather, Dr. Heather.
All thanks to her friend though. What was her the one
Kristen, the black girl.
Yeah, Kristen setting them up and stuff like that. I it's actually I watched this back. I watched this episode back before we did the show, and at first I was like, oh, why did you do that, Chris? But she was looking out for her friends, like, hey, look, you're not doing nothing. Let's do
They're a very attractive couple together too. Very evenly matched, very, both very intelligent, both very attractive. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good match. Honestly, I feel as if I like her with him. I like her with him more so than I liked Rosario Dawson's character with him, the nurse from the couple seasons.
Yeah.
But
she's from Queens. I'm
Would you
glad
say?
that American Dreams mentioned that because I mean, I was born in Brooklyn, but all I know is it's Queens, and we're the best borough. So, like, anytime you have Queens up in here, let's
Hey.
go. That's not a cue. I can't do it with my hands, so I'm just gonna throw this because it look cool.
Now, this is interesting because in the second episode, now that we're getting into the second episode, again,
Let's
we
do it.
see that Wilson Fix has won the election. He's on the news. He's in Times Square. Um,
New
uh,
York won.
yeah, we see there was a scene that kind of mentioned how Wilson is the man of the boroughs, specifically like Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. I think he said if you got Staten, you don't need Manhattan. That's what his little assistant said. Daniel, this
Oh,
guy.
this guy, he's full of energy. This young man, yeah, right here.
Yes, I thought that was interesting. So he's every man's mayor, like he's the mayor of the people, allegedly. But okay, opening this episode, we do see that we have a new character here. This
Yeah,
character is played by the actor Camar de los Reyes. Excuse me if I'm saying that incorrectly. I wrote it
shout
down.
out to him. He's
Shout out to him. Unfortunately, he passed
mhm.
away, the actor. But he did a great job in this episode playing Hector. Now, Hector was he witnessed someone being beat up in the
Right.
train station, and he goes to help that person. Um, and a fight ensues. One of the persons that he was beating up gets ran over by the train. That's the train running behind him in the back, as you can see.
Yep.
And it just so happens that the people who were beating up the guy were cops, right? They were the part of the NYPD, right? And
This annoyed me though. Like, why didn't they just say like this is NYPD business? Don't worry about it. Now, granted, they were still in the wrong. I'm pretty sure they were just trying to take advantage and beat up somebody. But
mhm.
like, if I hear NYPD, I mind my business. They don't even say anything. They just wait until this thing. And homeboy runs it as someone who takes the subway all the time.
Uh-huh.
You never run when there's a train right there. Like that's stupid. But go ahead.
I don't know why they didn't say that. Maybe they were trying to, in the midst of where they don't want no one to know that they were cops. Maybe I don't know. But one of them does end up dying, right? And that leaves our boy to be, taken into custody. Also, we get a scene where Wilson Fisk is discussing with his campaign manager the how his base is, and apparently he's polling really well with the young folks, right? But the more traditional voters are concerned because our girl Vanessa has not been appearing publicly with her husband, right? She's given very much Ivanka Trump, right? And and the campaign manager's like, look, we need her to come out. Y'all need to, reconcile to whatever you got to do. And Fisk was like, okay, I'm working on it. Give me some time, right?
I'll work on it. Give me a minute as I eat this omelet.
Right, give us a minute. Um, and again, we get this character now. I don't think he was in the first season. Well, I think he's pretty
No.
new as well.
Yeah.
His name
Keep an
is
eye on him.
Yeah, he's like Wilson Fisk's like side henchman. His name is Mr. Cashman. He reminds me of the guy from like the other seasons. I think that his henchman from the first like first season of.
Oh right, I forgot his name. God. It's gonna hit me. Give me a minute.
Let us know,
Wesker.
Silhouette, if you
Wesker
know
was
who
it
I'm talking
Wesky or
about.
something?
Yeah, the guy from like season 1 who played this
Yeah,
character.
yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. It's not him. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but
Wesley.
yeah,
I think it was Wesley or some shit like that.
yeah, he took his job. He basically,
Mhm.
this is the position was filled by Mr. Cashman.
They have the same haircut.
Right, look just like him. And also, following this scene, we see a young lady by the name of BB, right? She was
Right.
did a interview with Wilson Fisk, and
Mhm.
we find out that she apparently is the niece of Ben Urich, who was
Yeah.
the journalist from season 1, the one who
Yep.
Wilson killed off, right?
Right, because a black man was gonna make season 2.
Correct. But yeah, they did him, and that's why I say Karen is the true villain. She did him dirty that season. It's all Karen's fault when it comes to Ben's death. But his niece apparently is also taking up the family
Like,
business.
yeah, media and a whole new way too.
Yeah, she's very youthful, and she's using social media to her advantage. Also, through this episode, we see various interviews that she's hosting of different New Yorkers, and they're discussing the vigilantes. And all I can think about in these like little cutoff scenes, because they're very much like street interviews with New Yorkers. All I can think about is that lady from Pakistan, the lady who went to Pakistan.
Oh, nah, I know exactly.
Land. that could have fit right here perfectly in this episode. But we also see again that because Matt Murdock, he overhears that our boy Hector is being beaten by the police.
Yeah, beating the crap out of him.
Yeah, in the station, he decides that he's going to represent Hector, right? Against Kirsten's wishes. She's like, bro, I ain't signed up to be this man.
But I love what Matt says. He said, what did we agree on when we did this? And she was like, oh, take on these big cases, or the cases where it seemed like it's impossible because like someone said this too in that picture that you posted up there. Someone in the background said, Wilson Fisk is watching this, meaning like almost like Wilson Fisk got these guys in his back pocket and stuff like that. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Very, very much so. Let's get into a couple of these comments here. Let's see. I think we'll find out as season goes on. The cop corruption in this show still exists. Oh yeah, for sure. Mr. Tall White and British guy. Yeah. Is the villain Bullet in the comics? What? Mr. Catchman? Wait.
You're talking about the guy right now with Kingpin, right?
Oh, do tell.
Wow.
We got here. Buck Catchman. Okay. Interesting. BB is definitely going to find out what Fisk did.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope so. I
honestly feel like she has an idea already anyway, because the way that she was pressing him made me go like, I feel like she has an idea, but she's just trying to find that confirmation.
I don't think I think the complete. I think she has no idea. I think she's just had the opportunity to interview a mayor, and she's a journalist, and she wants to get the scoop. But it would be interesting if she does know. I'm sure she will find out. If she doesn't know now, I'm sure she'll find out later in the season. But we're getting to the courthouse
trial.
Yeah, the trial.
Okay.
Or at least the preliminary hearing where Matt Murdock is representing Hector. And this is interesting because I know, as everyone probably knows, the show went through several rewrites and reshoots, and then later got a new show director. And the original concept was apparently more of a kind of courtroom drama, as opposed to, having Daredevil being, kicking ass, right? And I wonder how much of this trial was cut. Like it was, because apparently, they had so much trial that in the screenings, people were like, yo, what's up with, why is it so boring? So I would be interested to kind of see. I wonder if they'll ever release like any of that footage that they have that they ended up cutting. Do you think they'll do it?
I'm sorry, I was reading a comment from American Dream, but no, I don't. I don't think so. I think it's something that we'll probably hear from the actors and actresses, and they'll say, well, this was the direction that we were going to go, but then we changed it. But I don't think we'll ever get. You mean like some uncut footage?
Yeah, because they shot a lot of it apparently. So it's all, somewhere in the ether. But what's this coming on? Fisk is representation of Eric Adams and Donald Trump. Okay, all right.
As soon as I read that, I laughed. I couldn't help. I mean, when I was seeing the stuff with Fisk, and it was so funny. I mean, real quick, Fisk, he was so late into the how do we word this? But the drawing, whatever. Like, there's already these candidates. He's late to it, and he won. I just thought that was so hilarious to me. Like
he just said it. He had the money. He knew how to use it. Thanks to Vanessa holding down, the finances.
Well, also too, we gotta give credit to that young man because he had I forget how many signatures that he had, but he had a crap load of signatures to put his name on there.
Oh yeah,
that helped as well. I just forget the number.
That's true. I think they did this quickly because that's how it realistically would play out in a people versus criminal court case. Oh, you saw? Okay, but yeah, the preliminary hearing, it caught Matt off guard. Yeah, it was nice seeing Matt in the courthouse, though.
Yeah.
Doing his thing because as since Foggy's death, that's essentially what he's been doing. He hasn't been, vigilanteing. He's been taking on cases.
Not yet, and I think it's cool that you get to see Matt in his atmosphere, if you will, and you
Uh-huh.
do all that stuff. And I think it's a great balance where they show like how good of a lawyer or case attorney. I forget what the word what it was. I'm sorry. I'm learning these things as I watch the show. But show how good he is at that, rather than just show that, because there's got to be more. There's got to be layers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool the superhero stuff, but what is Matt Murdock like?
Mhm.
And I think stuff like that is cool.
I agree. But we see our girl, his little girlfriend, Heather, she's having a book signing because not only is she a therapist, she is an author of, mental health type books. And in the audience, we get this creepy guy right here. And if you've watched Wednesday, I feel like this is the same actor from Wednesday,
Yeah.
season 1. But he was giving off creepy vibes. He goes up to her in line and was like, "Yeah, could you sign my book? And also, I need a little help." Right? He's having some kind of mental health issue, and because she's a doctor and a sweetheart, he's like, "Look, I'll move some things around. Here's my information. Call me and we'll get something scheduled." But
That's
clearly,
nice.
I feel like we're definitely going to see more of this mysterious character. I don't know who he is.
I think Silhouette is nailing it. It's funny. I thought the other guy was going to be Muse, but he's saying the skinny guy at the book signing has to be Muse, and that's a villain. I'm not super familiar with who Muse is. I'm going to be looking him up a little bit later now that you said that, Silhouette. But cool.
Yeah, give us a little information. Who's this Muse here? Who's this Muse? He keeps trying the lawyer route, but the fights are going to bring him back. He got a fight. We'll get into it at the end, but yeah. We also see that Wilson Fisk and the commissioner are bumping heads.
He's a commissioner. You know how you can tell he's a commissioner?
What?
The mustache. I also thought he was a Virtuinite.
Yeah, he's a Virtuinite. This is Omni-Man right here.
He should play him. Every time I see someone with a mustache, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely.
Apparently, he a Rolling Stone just like Omni-Man too. And it's basically the same character.
Oh, right. Get to it, please.
But yeah, him and Wilson Fisk are bumping heads. Apparently, I don't know I guess he just remembers Wilson Fisk for when he was a mafia boss, and he's not trying to forget that guys, right? And he goes into Wilson Fisk's office. He was like, I quit, right?
I'm retiring. I'm done. Yes.
Right. And Wilson was like, "Oh, really?" He pulls up. He gets into this whole thing about sub sandwiches for whatever reason, and
Philly cheesesteak because he's from Philly.
Philly cheesesteaks. And when he shows him the wrapping, it kind of uncovers a photo underneath the wrapping, which draws the attention of the commissioner, right? And it's of his little side piece, break baby, I would assume, in Philly. And the unspoken threat was like, "Look, if you quitting and being a jerk, I'm going after your family. I'm the mayor, but I'm still Wilson." MF and Fisk, right?
So I feel like this should be the rail here, where we talked about how Echo put this thing on him and everything, and we were like, and then here's me saying, and that didn't last long.
It's wearing off. It's wearing off. He's going through a lot.
Wearing off. I don't think that bad boy was even on him enough.
His wife is cheating on him. He's had to go through a whole election. He got, the people who are supposed to be supporting him are threatening him with not even just quitting. So he's stressing. He's going back into his old ways because they're not trying to, let him be a new man. I know. I see you, Wilson. Okay.
You just wanted to just say you just want to defend him, please, because this man is definitely going on. This is where I'll sit here and say a part where I did feel a little bit bad for him when he won the election in episode 1. It seemed like Vanessa did not care. Like everyone's surrounding him and they're saying, congratulations. And if you're with a significant other, your spouse, however you want to word it, you want them to be there to take in the moment with you. And you can see him looking like, Vanessa, I won. Where are you? And she's just sipping on champagne.
Vanessa don't give a damn. Ivanka Trump, Vanessa Ivanka. That's what if you see Vanessa, think Ivanka. She don't give a fuck about this man. Is like she don't want to be there. She's like,
You cleaned that last part up so much. Because I knew what was coming next, and that was a good cleanup. Good job, Cedar Superior. I knew what was next. I worked with her long enough.
but we see in this episode they're trying to,
Vanessa.
He's trying to work on this marriage, and that's what I want to give Wilson his props. Because say what you want about Wilson Fisk, that man love his wife, and he gonna try and make it work regardless, even if she's just like, no thanks.
Look at the distance between. She don't want to have nothing to do with him. She's not saying Fisk. He's always Vanessa. Please forgive me. I don't even know what he did wrong. Did he cheat on her? I don't know what this man did wrong. He left her. Right. He left her. Right. Like that's why she was upset. Right.
Exactly. She was handling things on her own. He's nowhere to be found. He's always off busy doing.
Which is something. Crazy. He's a big dude. How can you miss him?
See. So it's like I feel her, but at the same time, that's my boo Wilson. So you gotta give him some grace, right?
I think he's had way too much grace.
But also simultaneously, as of course Matt Murdock is representing our guy Hector, right?
Right.
We get Cherry, who again is very anti-vigilante. He goes and tries to convince Hector's wife to show up in court and inspects the home, and during which time he finds this additional vigilante get up, and this is the White Tiger get up. So we see that Hector is in fact White Tiger, another vigilante in the city, and that could potentially affect his case. Now, this is what I'm saying. The biasness of Cherry seems to be at play here, because he never really wanted to believe that Hector was innocent. And even more so when he found out that, he's a vigilante as well. And it seems like he has a grudge against vigilantes that could come into play later in the season. I don't know what you thought about it.
At first when you said all this part here, I was thinking, you said a biasness, and I was just thinking back to episode 1 when he was saying, well, the vigilantes, when they do stuff, they get credit. We don't. And, I feel like once you are NYPD or an officer, you're that for life. And I'm sorry, what was the last part? Because I saw this episode, but I didn't get a chance to watch this part back. But there was another part that you included.
When he pretty much said that he's kind of he doesn't
trust
believe
him, right?
that Hector is innocent all the way, and it almost it's as if he doubles down on it even more when he finds out that he's a vigilante, he's White Tiger.
Right. I think that also goes back to what I said, like when you don't know something, because I feel like he thought that way about Daredevil until he saw Matt being Daredevil, and I think he changed his whole tune, and he doesn't know the individual who's playing White Tiger, so he's immediately like, well, can we trust this person? I don't, like there's this unknown. Is like, can we depend on this person? Because there's a lot of people. Look, while we have a Daredevil, we also have a nutcase called Bullseye, and he wears a mask and stuff like that. So you're just hoping that, hey, if I look out for you, you're on our side, and you're not sitting here trying to make Hell's Kitchen. I don't even think it's in Hell's Kitchen anymore, right? Because Matt moved out of Hell's Kitchen.
He moved out of it.
But even still, you're hoping that this person in the city is not going to give us a hard time. Because New York, I mean, I know there's other places. I forgot where Echo was taking place. I think it was like Kansas or some stuff like that. But New York, we go through it because like the Battle of New York and all these other things going on. Hey, we don't need any more trouble. I don't blame Sherry for that.
I also thought it was interesting that there were several drops of other superheroes, like name drops, or at least hints of them in this episode. But shout out to the viewers. We got 50 of you guys here watching. Thank you so much for being here. Leave us a comment in the chat and we'll respond to your comments. But they did mention something when Wilson Fisk won his election. He said, we don't need any, what did he say? Something about spider costume vigilantes.
My guy. And that's the guy from The Boys, because he's dead. Good.
And he made a reference to the Punisher here in that same scene. And he also made a reference to Daredevil. So we see there's that interconnection there. So Punisher is canon, as we know, because we know that the actor is cast in this series this season
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
But Spider-Man is canon as well, so that's interesting to see.
I
Hold on,
would love. Oh,
Weaver from The
don't,
Boys.
don't you mention him. That upset me. I will go on a rant here. I just got into The Boys. I gotta still watch season 1 and all that stuff. But like Web Weaver, that was the most disrespectful way of talking about Spider-Man. That was terrible. I hated that so much. And he sat on a cake and farted on it. Nasty. But make your money, Web Weaver.
The last scene in this episode, essentially, or last few scenes, the police in the trial, they are
They're
attempting
hunting
to
down our boy. No,
yeah,
the guy that White Tiger helped.
yeah, they're attempting to, the only witness to this incident is the young man, or the guy that like you said, White Tiger assisted from the beatdown when the cops were trying to beat him down. They are trying to, get rid of him, right? Silence him for life. Matt ends up finding or getting to the gentleman's apartment first. He convinces him that, hey, you are the only person that witnessed the crime, and the police are coming after you right now. You got to get the F out of here, right? And he leaves just in the nick of time. Unfortunately, though, the police bang through the door. Matt is standing there with his sunglasses on, playing the blind man role, right? He's like, oh yeah, I'm just a blind guy. I don't know where the guy went. But of course, because these are like, thugs, these police officers, they're going to take him as a sight impaired person and beat the hell out of him.
They did.
They beat him up so bad. And I'm like, oh my God, he's just letting this happen. But there was a scene, right? A close up of the police officer's wrist. Right?
Yeah.
And this is like a Punisher logo.
That right? Nailed it.
Punisher logo. So this is clearly how they're going to introduce the Punisher in some way. I wonder if you've watched the Punisher, at least season 1, they mentioned how he was in like this elite military like organization that like they went and did like undercover illegal things for the military. And it makes me wonder, was this person, this cop, was he also a part of that group? And that's why he has this tattoo here. What do you think?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. So this is where I go and say, I'm just down for the ride. I don't know, but I feel like this is definitely a connection. I didn't even pay no attention at first until like when it came to like trying to get some pictures and everything. And people were like, ooh, did you see that Punisher reference? And you're like, oh, that's deep. And Silhouette, he was mentioning an accent. Do we think that Matt killed those Punisher cops? I don't think so. I don't think he killed them. I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think he killed them.
Yeah.
I think they're dead. Like, I think they're dead.
Like they're not coming back.
I think at least one of them's dead because he knocked one of them like in the head, right on the ground. It's like they're going to be concussed to the point of
I think he holds back because I don't think after that. I think he's still traumatized about Foggy's death, and even he was on the verge of killing. I mean, he would have killed if that was anybody else. If it wasn't Bullseye, that would have been anybody else that fell. That would have been dead. But I don't think he's trying to kill. I don't think that's Daredevil's MO. I think it's someone similar to Batman. He don't kill. I think he goes for the knockout. I think he goes for you don't get back up after I beat you up. But I'm glad that he did stand up for himself because I do with you when you were saying, why is he letting this happen? Like you could fight, and it was actually kind of annoying.
They pulled out, the pew, right, and then. As soon as he had no other choice but to fight at that point because they was about to, off him. Right. But that was the end of episode 2, guys. For me, episode 2 was the stronger of the two. It had way less CGI, which I appreciate because the first episode, it kind of took me out with all of the, the scaling CGI effects. They could have did that without it. Netflix did it without all of those additional CGI, too much of that. But 2 is definitely the stronger. But I enjoyed the show. You did as well?
I did enjoy it. I was glad. I was really honestly looking forward to talking about Daredevil with you guys, and I'm happy that it's back. I mean, it was like 8 episodes, and they're already talking about season 2. So, I'm really happy that it's back, and I think Disney got a hit on their hand. So, yes,
I agree. But now, because I like to be a little messy, right? And because we are also covering this show. So if you're enjoying this show with us here, talking about Daredevil, we'll be
Oh,
back
nice.
to discuss Invincible tomorrow night at 7:30, the newest episode of Invincible. So join us on all platforms to discuss the newest episode of Invincible tomorrow night, 7:30 EST. But comparing these first two to Invincible's first release, I believe what Invincible released like the first 3 episodes when they first came back.
I thought it was 2.
I thought it was 3.
Well, if it was 3.
If it was 2, um, which do you feel was the stronger, just based off the first 2 episodes? Which did you enjoy more?
Ooh.
I know what I did.
See, because I'm so like, I try not to be like that recent bias, so I'm gonna go say Invincible.
Okay, see, I agree. I feel like the first 2 episodes of Invincible season 3 were so strong. I had pretty much no complaints. This I did have a complaint, as I mentioned before, with this first episode of Daredevil. But they're both really good shows.
Yeah.
Watch them both. But that's it. That's it. Join us tomorrow night for Invincible. Goodbye. And every week for Daredevil. Same day, same time. See ya.